Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I know that there's not really my face here for the intro, but if you've been following me on Instagram or Snapchat, you'll know that I just got back basically from Boston. I went to go watch my New England Patriots play in the AFC Championship, and they won. So I'm a little rough today, and I'm just tired, and I just didn't feel like getting camera ready, so I figured I would just kind of film everything at first, just so you could kind of see what I was focusing on today. Today is eye products. So I have over here all of my single eyeshadows. I have duos, trios, and quads here, mascaras, eyeliners, and then a big pile of palettes. So I'm going to break it down as I have for the last couple weeks into these sections, and I have all of the total numbers, what I'm starting off with, and I will declutter it. Now, in total, all on this table that you see here, I have 208 eyeshadows, or eye products basically. So yeah, it should be a relatively easy clean out, especially for the singles. I want to really declutter this, along with the duos and trios. They're just, mascaras are going to be really whittled down, same with eyeliners, and the palettes, they won't really be going all that much. A few of them will be, but not a ton. So yeah, I will make sure to link down below the other videos from this series so far, the nail polish and lip products. And yeah, so let's just get into it and hopefully whittle this thing down. If I can get this down to, I don't know, maybe 130, that could be a good, I think that's a good goal. 130, I think that should be a pretty reasonable thing to do, just because I am going to get rid of so many, I think, singles and the duos, trios, quads. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so unlike the first two declutter videos, I'm actually going to start with the biggest part of the collection, and this is the single eyeshadows. I have 115 single eyeshadows, whether it be powder, cream, glitter, in a pot, in a pan, whatever you might want to look at it, but it's a single color in some form of packaging, and I really want to get rid of a lot of these. I just don't use my single eyeshadows all that much, especially cream shadows. I cannot stand them. I do like the Maybelline Color Tattoo, so I might keep a couple of those, but I honestly just don't like to use cream products, so I just need to get those out of my life. And I have a lot of like neutral shades that I feel like I can just get from my palettes or things like that, so hopefully I can get this down to, like, I don't know, I want to say 60. I feel like that's a little too bold. Maybe between 60 and 70, that would be nice, but we shall see. Okay, so this is actually a little bit harder than I thought, because I do actually like a lot of these singles. I did try to only keep interesting colors, not so many neutrals. So this is the pile that is going. A lot of neutrals, a lot of colors that I have within palettes, I know that, or shadows just that kind of suck and don't have any pigmentation. And then this is the pile that I'm keeping. I kept basically almost all of my glitters, things like that, unless there was duplicates. And then just so you know, these are all my single shadows on this side, and I'm not getting rid of any of these like pan ones, nor am I getting rid of my Inglot ones either. I refuse, they're too good. But yeah, I definitely made sure to keep all of these Infallibles by L'Oreal. They're fantastic, along with all of my ColourPop shadows, and then, you know, just ones that I tend to reach for. Okay, so grand total is that I am getting rid of 42 of the single eyeshadows, which means I'm keeping 73. Most of them are stored within this Morphe palette, so that makes it a lot easier for storage, and then 8 more within these Inglot Freedom systems, and then these are the ones that I'm left with, which I think will fit much more like nicely within my organization system. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so next up we have eyeliners. I have 40 eyeliners and I barely use them. So basically the only ones that are going to be staying are the ones that I really like, and then obviously like one from each color family. So like make sure I have a green one, a blue one, a purple one, black, brown, all that kind of stuff. And that way I don't have too many and it's not like weighing me down at all, because this drawer was getting a little bit out of hand before I decluttered it probably about a year ago, and I legit haven't really reached for any of these other than the liquid liners, and the odd time I'll reach for a pencil liner. But really, it's just not part of my makeup routine. So hopefully I can get this down to at least to about half. So hopefully I'll have like about 20 left, maybe even less. Okay, so that was pretty easy, and I'm actually really happy with what I have left. I'm actually keeping 21 eyeliners, and then that means that I'm getting rid of 19. Now, I know that I want it to have it completely, but I do have 2 of the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner and Trooper, and I know that one of them is going to die at some point soon, so then that will be okay, and it'll kind of bring it to that 20. I made sure I had basically any unique color I kept. I got rid of all of my like bigger pencils like this. I just don't use them. I got rid of a fair amount of black ones. Like I had a little tiny nub left of a YSL one, but I actually have the full size, so why keep both? Yeah, a bunch of blacks, and then just things that, like, if I had multiple browns, I just picked which one was the best. But I have some really cool colors in here, so I might actually try and start reaching for these a little bit more. There's no need to have 20 black eyeliners because they all basically do the exact same thing. I did keep 2. I love this Avon Black Flash, and you can't get it anymore, so I didn't really want to part with that. But other than that, I don't have any duplicates of colors unless it's like different shades of gray or silver. But yeah, pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how that one went. Okay, so this is the smallest of the bunch, and it's going to be the biggest declutter. So these are my mascaras. I am very particular when it comes to mascara. I only use waterproof mascara, and I typically only have 1 to 2 on the go at any time, and I try not to like kind of hoard them. I just kind of go with the flow. I do have 2 backups of this one in my like backup pile, which I didn't include, so technically I have 9, I guess. But this one's going to be the easiest declutter. This one is going to stay, and these 6 are going to go into the garbage. Simple as that. Okay, so next up I have my duos, trios, and quads. So anything that has 5 or more eyeshadows is considered a palette for this declutter, and anything obviously less than that and not single shadows is included in this group. Now I only have 21 of these. I do see it going down a fair amount, just because I tend to not really reach for these a whole lot, and a lot of the shades that I have here, they're either going to be in a palette that I already have, or it's going to be like a neutral shade that I have in a single or in palettes, things like that. So this one I should be able to get down to, I would say, maybe 14, 10 to 14, hopefully. Okay guys, this was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. I started with 21, and I am left with 10 duos, trios, quads that I'm going to actually keep. I'm actually surprised, but not so much. I thought it was going to be a little bit harder, but just looking at these, like, I really just don't reach for these at all, and like, yes, I know that there's Dolce & Gabbana in there, but it's a silver and a gray. I can get that in a palette easily. And yeah, so I'm making sure I keep most of my Wet n Wild ones. This is the only one I'm getting rid of just because I really don't reach for it all that often, and I don't really wear pink eyeshadow. I'm making sure to keep my Clarins, Chanel, Kat Von D. This duo I reach for so much, it's ridiculous. Like, you can see how dirty it is. But yeah, so I'm actually really happy with that, and this will nicely fit into one of my organizational drawers, I think. Maybe like 1.5. But I'm so happy with this because there's just no sense in having these if I'm just never going to use them. Okay, so I was just putting away my quads, and I found another one along with another like 6 shadow palette. So that actually brings my total up to 210 for the total. My duos, trios, and quads was actually 22, and I then got rid of 12 because I'm not actually going to keep this Maybelline quad. I can basically get these shades in my palettes. Okay, so I had to zoom out just a little bit just so that I could actually fit all of the palettes. So this is anything that has 5 or more eyeshadows in it, and I have a total of 26 of them because this is the one that I found. This Essence All About Sunrise one is the one that I found while I was putting stuff away. This one is obviously going to be a little bit harder just because obviously I'm not getting rid of any of my Morphe ones. I have 5 of these. I refuse to get rid of this one. There's a bunch of these that I just refuse to get rid of just because I love them so much. But if I can get this down, I'd say to 15, I think 15 to 18 would be a really good goal, I think. Okay, so I am left with 18 palettes or things that contain 5 or more eyeshadows, which means that I am getting rid of 8. Now, the things that I'm just getting rid of, I might as well explain why I am. The Mary Kay, this packaging just drives me flipping insane, and none of the shades are really all that, like, cracked. I don't know. They're good shadows. It's not like that. I have a blog post about this up, but it's just that these are all pretty neutral shades that I have somewhere else, so there's just no sense of keeping them, but I would have been able to pop out a single shadow if I didn't really like it. Wet n Wild blues, I just don't really reach for blues all that often, and in the other palettes I have enough. I'm not a big fan of these Essence ones. They're just, it's all shimmers, and I just don't ever reach for them. The Maybelline Smokes, these shadows, like there's a couple gems in here, like this, as I lose the brush. This one right here, it is such a good shadow. I wish I could just pop it out and just keep that single one, but it's such a nice shade. You can see that. It's really nice, but the rest of the palette just kind of sucks. So there's no sense in keeping it. This Mary Kay palette, it's nice enough. I kept it as a palette even though it only has 4 just because it has all this other stuff, but I never reach for this stuff. I really only like this bluish purple shade, so there's just no sense in keeping it for that. This e.l.f. palette was one of the first things I think I bought when I started getting into makeup, as I lose all of the brushes. Like, the shades are nice and the quality's so-so, but I just have so many other shadows now that I love so much more, like there's just no sense. And then lastly, this was actually one of the first things I ever bought makeup-wise when I started getting into makeup. And this is a Sephora collection like palette. There's tons of colors in here, yes I know, but I can basically get them anywhere, and if I really needed to, I could just go get a single shadow from, like, say, Makeup Geek or MAC or something if I really want it, like, say, a green like this, when the time comes. But it is really nice. It has a whole bunch of shadows along with 4 blushes and some lip glosses. It's actually really nice, but I just don't use it anymore just because I have so many other things that I absolutely love. I'm really happy with these palettes that I'm keeping. I think that it really does round out my collection, which means I didn't have to keep as many singles and duos and trios and stuff like that, just because I know that I have so many great colors in these palettes alone. I definitely learned a lesson through this, in that I am definitely going to be buying palettes a lot more. I know that they're harder to store because they won't fit into little drawers, but I think you just get a lot more use out of them, and then, like, traveling, you can just pick up one palette and then just go with it. I would just prefer that than a ton of little tiny single eyeshadows. Or if I want to buy single eyeshadows, let's just keep them to pan eyeshadows from, like, Makeup Geek, or now or Morphe, or ColourPop's just released some, or MAC, things like that. I can just get those, and then those fit a lot more if I get more of, like, the Morphe, like, or the Z palettes. It just seems to be a lot more space effective and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. And I'm really happy with getting rid of these. Okay, so of course you probably want to just know the final tally. Again, I'm not coming back on camera for this because I am not camera ready whatsoever. But, so I started off with 210 because I found those 2 random products as I was putting stuff away. I am left with 124 eye products, eyeliners, eyeshadows, palettes, things like that. I think that's a really great dent to make. I'm really happy with that, and I'm definitely, again, going to stay really conscious about getting single eyeshadows because I just don't tend to reach for them, but instead investing some good money in some really great palettes that get me through most of my days when I put makeup on. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this video. I'm sorry I didn't make an appearance on camera, but next week I will be back with probably the last installment. I will be doing all of my face products. So that's foundation, concealers, bronzers, blush, highlight, all of that kind of stuff. I will be doing that. Let me know if you want to see a declutter on my like skincare and body care, because I can easily do that as well. I do need to get through all of that. And then also, just to give you a heads up, because if you are watching this video, you obviously like me decluttering, I've decided that in February, I'm going to be doing a sample killer video, a couple of videos. So I'm going to do one every 2 weeks in February and see how I do. I might extend it into March, but basically I have so many samples to go through. I'm going to try and plow through them as quickly as possible. This is inspired by a girl who used to be part of the CBB, Kaitlyn. She used to do this in July, and it was sample killer blog posts. So it's really just trying to get through as many samples as possible. So yeah, let me know if you want to see those videos. I think I've already decided I'm going to do them though. And then also if you want to see skincare, body care, hair care, declutter videos as well, and I can easily extend those into February as well. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of the day, and I will actually see you next time on Friday.